Long before James Brown became the godfather of soul, he was just one voice among many, a young man chasing a dream with a group that would shape the very sound of American music. Often overshadowed, rarely credited, but never forgotten by those who truly know their history. This group was not a band, that was hitmakers. Without them, James Brown wouldn't be who he became to be. This group was more than just a backing group, they was pioneers. The centerpiece of today's video is all about the famous Flames. Now, if you guys love my videos and love supporting me, then I suggest you become a member of the channel where I will be releasing exclusive videos just for you all. Be sure to get that family tier so you won't miss out on these exclusive perks. Now before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push that notification bell to be sure you won't miss out on any more content. Now without further ado, let's cue that intro. This story begins with James Brown joining the R&B group the Cremona Trio while growing up in Toccoa, Georgia. Brown, who was 16 at the time, was sentenced to a juvenile correctional camp in 1949 after conducting multiple armed robberies. While at the correctional camp, he established the Swinnees, which included Johnny Terry. The group created its own instruments such as a comb and a paper, a washtub bass, and a drum set constructed for lard tubs, while Brown himself played sort of a medallion made out of a wooden box. This led to Brown's first nickname, Music Box. In 1952, Brown's reform school baseball team faced another squad that included Bobby Bird, and the two, they quickly became friends. Shortly afterwards, Bird and his family volunteered to support Brown's early release from jail. Brown was granted parole on June 14, 1952 with the condition that he should not return to his hometown. So this led to Brown moving into Bird's parent house, where he worked as a dishwasher and briefly as a boxer. Around this time, Bird founded a gospel singer group that was named the Gospel Starlighters. Within a year, the group desired to perform secular music, but they was terrified by being confronted by church officials to quote-unquote devil's music. This prompted the group to play R&B music under a new name, which was the Avons. Now this particular group featured Troy Collins, Doyle Orgisby, Sylvester Kills, and Willie Johnson. The Starlighters disbanded after opting to focus largely on R&B music and established the Avons. Brown returned to music in 1954 after joining the ever-rated Gospel Singers, which featured his old friend from reform school, Johnny Terry. However, the group was unable to secure a record deal, so they split up, prompting Brown to return to Toccoa. Troy Collins sadly passed away in a car accident in 1954, causing sorrow for the group. Bird requested that Brown replace Collins. Initially, lead vocals were shared by Bird, Kills, and Brown. Johnny Terry was also requested to join the group, so when he joined, he brought in guitarist Floyd Scott, and Fred Pulliam replaced Willie Johnson. Around this time, the group changed their name to the Toccoa Band to prevent confusion with two other groups who had the name the Avons. Under their manager, the group began to perform instruments with Brown on drums and Bird on piano. In 1955, after hearing a concert by Little Richard, the group abandoned the gospel and renamed themselves the Flames. While performing at Little Richard Club in Macon, Georgia, Little Richard's agent urged the group to add Famous to their name. Pulliam quit the group, and Nash Knox took that place when Little Richard left Macon for Los Angeles. During this period, the group began writing and playing their own songs, including a James Brown tune called Going Back to Rome, and a ballad called Please 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 that Brown co-wrote with Johnny Terry. Before Christmas of 1955, Little Richard's manager directed the group to record a demo of Please 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 for a Macon radio station. The song came together in two parts. Etta James stated that when she first met Brown in Macon, he used to carry around an old tanker napkin with him because Little Richard had written the words "Please, please, please" on it, and James was determined to make a song out of it. The song "Please, Please, Please" was aired on Macon radio stations and became a regional hit by the end of 1955. The record was sent to numerous labels, which they quickly rejected it, but two labels controlled by Cincinnati-based King Records pursued the group. Ralph Bass, or Bass, of Federal Records finally won the bid in battle and signed the Famous Flames in February of 1956. A month later, they re-recorded a track in Cincinnati. After hearing it, King Records founder Sid Nathan declared the song unreleasable owing to Brown singing and nearly firing Ralph on the spot. The song was released in May of 1956, and by September it had reached number 6 on the R&B charts. Consistently performing the song while touring on the Chitlin circuit kept the song on the charts for a year, and by 1957 the song had sold well over 5,000 copies, which around this time was a big deal. Overall, the record went on to sell between 1 to 3 million copies. The majority of the original Flames releases following Please 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 failed to create any follow-up success, including I Don't Know, No No No, Just Won't Do Right, and Chani Oh Chan. Around this time, the group had got a new manager, and their new manager had urged the group to alter their names to James Brown and his Famous Flames. Brown and the group's manager enlisted members of the singer group the Dominions to replace the original Flames, who quit on Brown on the spot after learning that Brown was given the primary billing over the other members. Brown had hired J.C. Davis as his instrumental backing band. Thus, the Famous Flames became an entirely singing group with no instrumental players. After numerous or more failed singles failed to chart, the Famous Flames was on the verge of being dismissed by Federal in 1958, but it was Johnny Terry who saved them when he wrote a ballad called Try Me for Brown that was based on Jerry Butler and the Impression song For Your Precious Love. This song was a turning point for the group's career. Their first #1 R&B hit came in early 1959, and the group made a debut on the Billboard Hot 100 charts, peaking at number 48. Following the song's popularity, Brown abruptly fired the temporary members of the Dominions, Big Bill Hollins, J.W. Archer, and Louis Madison. These men, together with the remaining intern, Willie Johnson, formed the Fabulous Flames, a breakaway group that was located in San Francisco. Now, this group released a number of failed singles on the Little Bay Tone record label before slipping into obscurity. By then, Brown and Terry had urged Bobby Byrd to return to the group, which he did, and they acquired new Flames players, Bobby Bennett, and Lloyd Starworth. This became the group's longest running lineup. Since Brown, with Bird's assistance, had hired the old J.C. Davis Ensemble, the Bucketheads, as a musical supporting band, the group now referred to them as James Brown and the Famous Flames. Brown's first appearance at the Apollo Theater was in April of 1959, where the group opened for Little Willie John. That year, Brown scored his first solo success with the song I Want You So Bad, which reached number 20 on the R&B charts. Brown and the Flames had a succession of popular singles in the 60s, including Think, Bewildered, I Don't Mind, This Old Heart, and I'll Go Crazy. By 1962, 3 versions of The James Brown Show had been recorded: James Brown and the Famous Flames, James and his instrumental group, and James as a solo act. The Famous Flames had a hit, Shout and Shimmy, in 1962, which was their rendition of the Isley Brothers' Shout. But the song was quickly dismissed by at least one critic, who said the song was truly a shameless ripoff of the song, basically the fast parts of Shout, with a gospel inflection removed and the word shimmy added. Nonetheless, Shout and Shimmy was a smash, and James and the Famous Flames performed it live on Dick Clark's American Bandstand on June 11th, 1962. In 1963, live recording at the Apollo Theater was published as Live at the Apollo, which reached number 2 on the pop charts. The album sold over 1 million copies and remained on the charts for 14 months, which was extraordinary for an R&B album at the time. The group's fame peaked in 1964 when they performed on the TAMI Show, which was a concert filmed and produced by American International Pictures. This star-studded concert video was captured live over 2 days at the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium in California. Brown and the Famous Flames launched a legendary performance of Please 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 at this event, during which Brown sank on his knees, prompting Bobby Bennett and Danny Ray to wrap a cape around him and escort him away before Brown returned to the microphone. Now this became a signature of Brown's, as he did it every performance for the rest of his career. In 1964, the group released another popular live album titled Pure Dynamite Live at the Royale, which, like Live at the Apollo, peaked at number 10 on the Billboard Pop Albums list. The Flames also helped record the 1964 album Showtime. During this period, the group record label inconsistent billing on numerous of recordings and albums caused many admirers of Brown to assume that the Famous Flames were Brown's backing band, rather than a standalone singing group. Brown and the Flames' strong soul blues ballad, Oh Baby Don't You Weep, reached number 23 on the pop charts and number 4 on the Cashbox R&B charts in 1964. Later that year, they issued a final recording together titled Maybe the Last Time, which was the B-side to James Brown's Out of Sight. The Flames did not obtain label credit for most of their studio recordings, as they did with all of their previous smash records. The Flames did not obtain label credit for most of their recent studio release, as they had with all of their previously smashed records. In 1964, the Flames were still intact. James Brown and Bobby Byrd founded their own production business titled Fair Deal to distribute their songs to a wider audience. As a consequence, Brown negotiated a contract with Smash Records to distribute the records, and Brown issued 8 albums through Smash Records. Following the publication of the first funk tune, Out of Sight, King Records prohibited Brown from releasing any more recordings since he had not received the label permission. After a year-long wait, King Records was unable to afford to lose James Brown, as he became the label's greatest star. So they offered him a new deal that allowed him complete creative control over his songs. James Brown returned to King Records, where he recorded solo without the Famous Flames' vocal support. Although they continued to earn label credit and perform with Brown on live performances and live records until 1968, King released Brown's Papa Got a Brand New Bag in 1965, which became Brown's first solo #1 hit on the R&B charts and reached the top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts. His smash song, Out of Sight, was followed by the successful hits of I Got You and Papa Got a Brand New Bag. The group participated in Hollywood films such as Ski Party, and they also had 2 appearances on the Ed Sullivan Show in 1966. But, like always, the Flames was uncredited. The group also began to play internationally and became a popular attraction. Talking about their success outside of America, Famous Flame Bobby Bennett said in a 2012 interview with the Cleveland Plain Dealer, "It was drawing crowds everywhere we went. Not just in America, we'll go to London or Paris, and we couldn't even leave the hotel to go sightseeing because we was getting mobbed by people." Brown's solo ambition sparked more disagreement among the group members, who believed they was not being fairly rewarded. Lord Starworth quit the group shortly after their debut appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show in early 1966, leaving just Brown, Byrd, and Bennett. The section grew during 1966 and 1967, and in 1968 the remaining members of the Flames, which at this time was Bobby Byrd and Bobby Bennett, opted to pursue separate careers, and the group quietly disbanded. King published the groups Live at the Apollo Volume 2 in 1968, but removed the Famous Flames introduction because the group had departed Brown by that time. However, years later, on the 2001 deluxe edition, Frankie Crocker's full introduction, including the Famous Flames name, was restored. Although Bird and Brown reconnected numerous of times, the Famous Flames never performed together again. Brown wrote dismissively about them in his 1986 autobiography book, alleging that although, quote, "it was a good stage act, they couldn't really sing that well." However, elsewhere, he referred to them favorably as a bunch of real fine quartet singers. In 2003, Bird and his wife, Vicki Anderson, among Famous Flames, Bobby Bennett, and Lord Starworth, sued Brown and Universal Records, which owned King Records' catalog, alleging that they was cheated out of royalties from samples of Bird's 1971 hit, "I Know You Got Soul," and numerous of other Famous Flames hits over the years. Despite allegations of bad blood, Bird maintained that he still loved James Brown and believed that the situation was more about Universal than Brown. Along the way, we have lost several members of the Famous Flames, including Lord Starworth, who passed in 2001, followed by Johnny Terry, who passed in 2005, and James Brown, who passed on Christmas Day 2006. Bobby Bird passed away 9 months after James Brown in September of 2007. Bobby Bennett, the last surviving member of the Famous Flames, lived long enough to see the group being inducted into the 2012 class of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, before himself have sadly passed away on January 18th, 2013. The Famous Flames was posthumously inducted into the National Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame in 2 separate inductions. James Brown in 2013 and the remaining Flames, Bird, Bennett, Starworth, and Johnny Terry in 2020. Now, for some strange reason, YouTube is only promoting my videos to 20% of my audience. So, to change that, just make sure you guys are notified. When you click that notification bell, make sure the bell says all instead of personalized, so you will be notified each time I upload. Now, before we go, I have a question for you all. What is your favorite song by the Famous Flames?